I think there's a couple bright spots if you want to look for any of them. I've been asking for a little consistency from my group, and it looks like Dant Tre's style is starting to play really good basketball. 9 for 14, 6 for 8 from 3, 5 rebounds, and our team's fighting. We played against a very good Clemson team. Obviously, they coming in 9-1, and our guys are putting the work in. We have these 4 or 5 minute stretches that I feel like are really, really hurting us. And I didn't know who we were going to have this week. Ben and Dant Tre didn't practice the last couple of days because they had flu-like symptoms, and same thing with Breon Pass. And then right before the game, Brandon decided that he couldn't go, and so I give our guys kind of want a moral victory, but I give us credit for the way we came out and fought against a really good team under the adversity that we had we went through. That being said, we just got to figure out we got to get better. We got to figure out these stretches. Our defense is still doing a great job of carrying us through most of these games, and obviously it looks like when we get in trouble, we don't score the basketball. So, questions?
Kevin, Duke and then now Clemson, those are two of the top teams in the standings. Do you feel like you're miles away from them? How close do you feel like you are to those two teams?
If you look at those two games, you say you're right there. You look at them and you say, man, we have gotten better. We just didn't win a few games that could have went the other way earlier. And so if you win those games earlier and you don't play well against, or you play Duke and Clemson the way you do, now you're saying, wow, man, they got a chance. That being said, we have been in every game because our heart's always on the line, and our guys show up every night. Sometimes it comes to just maybe the other guys has a few more better players than we do, and we just got to keep figuring it out and keep plugging. But to your question, it's a great question. When you look at those games, you got hope. We talked about looking at the big picture, which I normally don't do. In our league, it's going to be 9-10 teams that have to at some point win their league to go, because we're just not getting many in there. Can we continue to get better? Can we win some games down the road to put ourselves in that position? So,
how do you kind of keep the morale up? Like you said, you're right there, but when the losses start to stack, it's hard not to see that.
Well, I think the way we'll do it is we keep playing hard as a habit. And we do have, if you want to say what's our good habit is we play hard. If we've lost any game this year, it wasn't because of our lack of effort. I love the way our guys could be, and I told them after the game, I love you for how hard you play, because at this point, when you drop the amount of games in a row, it's easy, to your question, to say, man, we just don't play hard. We're competing, and that's how we're going to do it. And that's a non-negotiable for me in my program. Somebody on that bench is going to play hard if one or two guys decide that they're not. And I haven't seen that from anybody.
I'm not normally a big plus-minus guy, but when you have been without Brandon, you have to give him a little pep talk on how important he is to stay on the floor.
Yeah, I do, and it's tough because it's so much pressure, and some of that, JC, comes down to who you're playing against. I mean, we're playing against the biggest front court probably in the ACC, and they knew that there was no Brandon also, so they're going to make an effort to get the ball inside and try to get him in foul trouble. We talked about it, but obviously he's so aggressive. The reason why he's blocking shots, you don't want to kind of take that part away from him because he's aggressive on each one. But we have talked about, hey, you got to stay in the game, especially under these circumstances with because Brandon, without Brandon, and obviously then you got to go down to Ish, who's kind of more of a 4 or 5 than a 5 anyway.
Kevin, besides Dant Tre with 24, how much do you think Paul and Tre helped out once again this week?
I think they're doing well. I mean, there are stretches where they're really good, and then there are stretches where they're freshmen, and that's not their fault. I mean, they're freshmen, and so I think when you look at those two and even Bryce, they have some great moments. Like I thought Paul came in and had great moments. Then I thought he got tired. I thought he got took a couple tough ones at that time. And so it's a balancing act with these younger dudes, how to get them experience and continue to play. They can keep you in games, as Tre did at Duke. I thought Tre was great at Duke, but they have some moments where you just got to get some veteran guys in there to play. I love what they're doing. I love they're starting to earn minutes because of the way they're showing up every day early, working, staying late, getting better, and so they're catching up, and it's starting to show on the floor for them. We just, it's not. I never say, when it comes to a freshman, it's you can't count on a freshman. They're young, and so a lot of this is up to me and our upperclassmen to get the thing right, and then let the freshmen contribute.
Speaking of Clemson's size in the front court, what does it say about your team that y'all were able to out-rebound them?
We emphasized coming into this game that we had to win that battle, and I thought our guys. I'll tell you, it was tough because in practice, at times our 4s and 5 was Bryce and Dennis Parker because we didn't have those guys in, so we really concentrated on you got to hit them before they hit you. But it's a lot. It's a win in that area, in that category, because we have gotten all rebounded. Things that we want to work on is our rebounding, transition defense, and also guarding the ball a little bit better one-on-one. So in that area, that's a win for us.
When you're facing an elite offensive guard like Chase Hunter, how do you game plan for to stop that type of player?
Say that one more time.
When you're playing a elite offensive guard, how do you stop a player like Chase Hunter?
He's good. I mean, that's a, you look at his numbers and how he affected the game. 20 points. He was very efficient, 6 for 12, 2 for 5, got to the free throw line. We talked about, hey, staying on his right hand. I thought during their stretch when they needed a play, Chase Hunter was really good. I thought he made a couple plays down the stretch, and he's an all-conference guy, probably a first-team all-conference guy here who has been in the league for a long time. But we game plan against him. One of the things we talked about is, can we take away the leading scorer? Don't let the best player be the best player, and he was good tonight. I thought we did a good job with Shefflin, who has been really good, but I thought Chase Hunter was and it's weird because it's one of those guys you pick up the stat sheet and you don't realize he had 20 points, and he did.
Coach, you talk a lot about how the veterans are impacting Tre, Parker, and Paul McNeil. Can you talk a little bit about Michael O'Connell's game today? He had 3 points, 2 assists, and 3 rebounds in 28 minutes.
Michael he's never been a scorer. He's been, even if you go back to last year, he had those moments at the end of the year where he scored the basketball for us. And I think that was not, I want to say that's a tease for us, but that was an addition to what we already had. He makes us run. He's one of the reasons that we have been a low turnover team, throughout the year. So he has a value, he has a need on the team, but if we're looking for him to score, then we have to go to the to the bench and get somebody else, and that's why Tre has started to play more minutes because he provides a little bit more scoring than Michael does.
Do you see this as maybe a good time to get on that plane and go to California?
I think it's a great time, and we talked about that, and I mean that in a good way. Is I want us to get away, and just get back to hanging as a team. I never thought, and when I say this, we're going to play 2 really good teams on their own floor, but it's not so much about that. It's hey, let's get away, clear our minds a little bit, see can we figure it out, and move forward. And you guys are covering us. We got all the fight in the world. We just we struggle offensively at times to get us over the hump to win the games, and we'll figure it out. I don't know when, but we'll figure it out.
Thanks, Coach.